Okay, the first order of business is get this thing in a little further into the garage where I can get it under some lights. I got a coolant tank, filter and a motor on it. Putting this stud in the floor was probably one of the smartest things we did. Something very aggressive there. I'd like to get some more of that and just remove all the paint. One of the identification tags has been painted over. So I'll bring you back when we get this thing back into place. Okay, we're gonna take a little walk to my wife's domain. Oh, she's got a fire going. She's getting ready to sit down. I'm going to take you the long way. There's a shop in there. Coming your way, Diane. And there's the resuscitation room. Okay, here's you can't see it. We've built artificial trees. You're getting ready to be on YouTube, honey. Hey guys, kimbeezelik here. Let's see, we got the cutter grinder in the garage around 1 p.m. Let's call it noon. Had to go return the pallet jack, which we didn't use, and I had 2 hours of driving. Here and there, going whatever. But got back home when me and the wife went out to dinner. I came out here about 1 in the morning, so I got 4 hours into this, I guess, and made a lot more progress than I thought I would. I pulled the powered head off and what I'm going to call the tailstock. So the tailstock is down there. It needs a new dead center. And then the powered head here, I did not clean any of that up. And this is an item that they just handed to me when I got there. I'm sure you all know what that is, and maybe you can tell me. Here's the coolant tank and pump filter. I can't even tell if I'm getting that in the picture. Sure, yeah, it's right in the center. So, I worked on the table. This table here was locked up, wouldn't budge. This area under here, not so bad over here, of course, but you know, over here where all the grinding's done, that was packed. Pretty happy with that for the initial cleaning. I did, I did the face here, I did the top here, and just roughly did the handles, soaked the scale a little bit. It's coming clean. Yeah, I'm very happy with the progress so far. I got to imagine that an oiler, automatic oiler, takes care of this. I can't find anywhere to get oil on that, but it needs oil. Down below, we haven't touched any of that. Someone poured something caustic on the front of that and took all the paint off. But, so here's some truly nasty here. In my opinion, their instructor sucked to let them operate this thing in this, and let it get in this condition. Baffles me. Imagine this is a starting switch. Power box, I haven't figured out how to open that up yet. I am learning that these handles move the table as well as the front handle. These two handles raise the head on either side. They both, actually only one of them has graduations. Well, maybe both of them do. Maybe one just doesn't have the collar. Well, the jury's out on that. This one definitely has graduations. And this is pretty nasty down in here. I moved. Okay, let's talk about this first. This is the head. I don't see how you move this on this dovetail. I don't know if you just move that by hand, loosen it up, and push it or pull it. I don't see anything that cranks. There's a crank here on the back, and I forget what I was thinking that did. Well, I think it moves this head forward and back. It has about an inch of travel on these keyways, dovetails. This is the mount for the lamp. It needs to be tightened up because it just woggles. Yeah, like I said, I'm very surprised and happy that this thing cleaned up as well as it has so far. This is all oil here. Before going to bed, before stopping for the day, I wanted to oil up everything. I'm not sure if that's necessary or not, but play it on the safe side. It's not going to hurt to put some oil on there. The scale here needs to be polished out, but very excited. I think this will be the challenge. I'd probably want to get a new cover for whatever that's called. Okay, I'm taking too long on this. Okay, what did I use to clean it with? Okay, I used some Purple Power initially, gray Scotch Brite, used this tool a lot, little miniature pry bar. That was probably the main tool for getting in that keyway. And in the end, I started using 50-to-1 mix engineered fuel and oil, ready to use for 2-cycle engines. True fuel. So that's what I used in the end. And I believe that helped dissolve some of the greasy balls of microchips. And then, like I said, I oiled, you know, all the important surfaces. And, you know, I was thinking, you know, if I spin this thing, it would just spin so easy and just, you know, spin forever. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on between the motor and the spindle here. So hopefully all that's in good shape. I do see there's an adjustment there to move the head in and out. Yeah, well, this is, like I said, this is going to be a giant learning experience for me. But I'm up for the challenge. I do have a 3-phase converter. My father had this, he had an air compressor, he had 2 pumps on top of an 80-gallon tank. And he had 220 coming out of the ceiling in the garage. And it came down to a fuse box. Okay? And then it plugged into, at the bottom of the fuse box, the wire came out and a plug for this. So this 220 out of the ceiling, fuse box, socket. This plugged into the socket. This goes to the converter. And it says, I believe it says 1 phase on there. Okay. So, wire coming out of the converter, I guess I'm assuming is 3-phase coming out of the converter. It went up into another fuse box, and then it came out and went to I forget now. I think it went to directly to the electric box for the motors. And then there was a 3rd fuse box that wires that fed the switches for the motors. I'll get more accurate description of how that works, but I think I have what I need here. And let's see if you can read it. Hopefully you can. It's 230-480, 3-phase, and has the amps for each. 13.6 for 230, 6.8 for 480, 60 hertz. Diagram over here, so I imagine because it has those 2 diagrams, it can be wired for the 480 or the 2 different powers of phase, of 3 phases, 240 and 480 maybe. I don't know anything about that. Okay, I'm not sure how to make that red dot disappear. So I took the power head off the tailstock. Yes, I got that table to move a little bit. Lots of, directly under the wheel, underneath that table, it was packed in there. Not so much on the far right. I'm using Purple Power, a small pry bar, about a little more than a 1/4 inch wide bar. Gray Scotch Brite. Really made a lot better progress than I imagined. I guess I got the spirit of Steve Summers in me, and went at it with a razor blade also. And I gotta get that red light out of here. I'm very happy with what I got done. There's a lot more to do. There's a vacuum cleaner picking up. My vacuum cleaner hose got very heavy. It's not clogged. I'm sure it's lined with microscopic metal particles now. Imagine when it dries out, I can go beat it on the ground and break some of that stuff loose, hopefully, or buy a new hose. The dials, the main dial on the left there is graduated. There's there's a crank on both left and right sides. The one on the right is graduated. It raises and lowers the head. The locking the table, as far as I can see, is just a matter of using the stops. There's going to be a tremendous learning curve for me on this. I'm going to have to find some cutter grinder guys on YouTube. Have to get any literature I can find and read. If you don't know how to use the equipment, you won't be able to use the machine. If you don't know what it's capable of, I can't, a lot of guys have spent their whole life, practicing this craft, and I go buy a machine and I'm not, I have no illusions that, if I can get this thing turned on, that, I'm going to be some kind of cutter grinder guy. I'm kind of thinking this might be something that I flip and use the money to buy a real lathe. Some of the equipment was still there at the auction site, and I don't know what kind of lathe it was. I was just too overwhelmed, but it was perfect fit. It'll fit right in my little room here. Just cute as hell. Okay, that's it. At the end, I started using, I had a can, like a 2-quart can of pre-mixed fuel for 2-cycle engines, like the oil-gasoline mixture. And that was the final solvent I used, and that did help break up some of that oily swarth that it was in there. And dried everything up. I oiled all the table, any of the important, any of what I deemed But basically I just got, you know, this, you know, like from here up. I did the face here, I did these dials a little bit. But it's a mess back in here. I'm kind of appalled at that the instructors at that school would let the students abuse this machine to the point that it has been abused. Here's my three-phase converter. Okay, guys, let me run this back to its little mount and stick it there. And yeah, I'm probably a wreck. I just, whatever clothes I had on, I just started cleaning shit. So I probably ruined this set of clothing. Okay, it's 5:30 in the morning. The lathe has been here for 16 and a, not the lathe, the cutter grinder machine has been here for 16 and a half hours. And I've got 4 hours in cleaning, and probably took us a good hour to get up the trailer. And there should be some hit or miss video of that. I don't know how these guys videotape moving these machines, because for me, there was way too much going on to be concerned about a camera. Okay, guys, later on, I'm loving the machine, but I think I'm in good shape. This thing runs quiet, so I'm psyched about that. Need to figure out how to get some lubrication under here, and this probably just lifts off of there, and that's probably the deal. But that's a two-man lift. I'm not going to attempt that by myself. And unfortunately, I don't know, I might have too much light up in this ceiling to see what kind of, I do have a big barn beam up in the ceiling, and maybe I could put some weight on it, put a chain fall up there. And it's actually, this thing is actually right under that beam, which is kind of Providence. It's kind of the way my life goes. You know, if I need something, it's just there. All right, I've gone way too far with this. I didn't crank anything more than just a touch, just to see what it moved. And once I get the whole thing cleaned, I'm going to pull this table and clean that up. And I'd love to pull the saddle, but I'm not sure if I'm capable of that. Okay, auf Wiedersehen.